Ashe. Welcome to the Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge. 1 year ago, my husband began the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the defeat of AIDS. Arthur could not be with us today, but AIDS still is. Let's look.
Hello everyone, I'm Tim Ryan, and here on the day before the U.S. Open begins, some of the great stars who are contenders for the titles at stake here at Flushing Meadows are here today. You will see Agassi, Capriati, Courier, Sanchez, Vicario, Sampras, and Novotna. They will be joined by boxing greats Evander Holyfield and the champion of the world in the heavyweight division, Riddick Bowe. All here to celebrate the memory of Arthur Ashe and to continue the battle against the disease that took his life. I am joined here for this shootout tie-break action by Mary Carrillo and Tony Trabert. And Tony, it's great to be back here for the second time around with this very wonderful cause.
Well, Tim, it certainly is, and what better way to honor Arthur Ashe. All the champions playing here today are here because of Arthur. He was a great guy, and they loved him. That's why they're here today. You know, there's been a lot of animosity in men's tennis, women's tennis, and with the officials, but today that's all put aside for Arthur and the defeat of AIDS. So I salute the USTA, the United States Tennis Association, for making this possible, and all the players that are here. It should be a fun day.
It should be fun. It was great last year, and I'm sure we'll have even more entertainment this time around. Great lineup of champions, Mary. They are winners all, as was, of course, Arthur Ashe himself.
That's so true, Tim, and I think it's very fitting that Arthur named his foundation as one for the defeat of AIDS. He didn't want to just fight it. He wanted to beat it. 25 years ago, he won the very first U.S. Open. He went on to become a Davis Cup hero and captain, a Wimbledon winner, and really one of the most important and dignified voices that the world of sports has ever produced. I'm glad we're all here.
Well, we have a very special master of ceremonies for the events today. He's a great supporter of tennis. You see his face on television all during the U.S. Open. He doesn't miss a session. One of the great comedians and actors in our country, master of ceremonies today, Alan King.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to officially welcome you to the Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge hosted by the United States Tennis Association. And I think it's only fitting that this is the 25th anniversary of Arthur Ashe's winning the first United States Open Championship. If you will join all of us at the President's box, making her first public appearance, ladies and gentlemen, since April, the 1991 and 92 U.S. Open Women's Champion. Warm welcome, Monica Seles. Monica Seles. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem will be sung by Emmy and Tony Award winner and currently starring in Jelly.
Center semifinal women's action now in the Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge. Jennifer Capriati, ranked number 7 in the world, against number 16, Zina-Garrison-Jackson. And Garrison-Jackson has won the toss, and she will serve in this tiebreaker. And Tony, let's talk a little bit about Jennifer Capriati, currently ranked number 8, the 7th seed here.
Well, as you can see, she's just 17 years of age. She turned pro just before she was 14. And she's hit a bit of a plateau at the moment, Tim. She's around 7th or 8th, and every time she gets to the quarterfinals, she runs into the top seed and is beaten, so she can't get any farther than that. So she has to improve just a little, and I think she certainly will do that.
Harry, we saw Zina-Garrison-Jackson make the final at Stratton Mountain just a few weeks ago here on CBS. She's certainly improved her efforts this year, although she struggled in that tournament.
Well, she's back in the top 20, Tim. That's nice to see. Zina was a 2-time U.S. Open semifinalist, a Wimbledon finals in 1990, losing to Martina Navratilova. But she's the one who beat Chris Evert in 1989 in the quarterfinals here in what was Chrissy's last match.
And man who replaced Hollander in the chair. Was the man
And Alan King is just introducing the chair umpire for this match. The current heavyweight champion, Riddick Bowe. As we mentioned earlier, he and Evander Holyfield will meet in a rematch November 6th in Las Vegas. Riddick is a real fun guy, as is Evander.
Miss Jackson, you serve first.
Well, Riddick told her that she's serving, and I suspect she now will. Capriati wins the first point with a good return.
1-0, Capriati.
First to 7 must win by 2. If they go all the way to 10, then they'll play one decisive point for the match. Tied at 1.
1-1.
Jennifer Capriati with a new haircut from a year ago at the U.S. Open. She's had this for some months now, and obviously lots of people have their points of view on women's haircuts. I think this one's been a hit so far.
Last year, Jennifer Capriati lost in the 3rd round here in the grandstand to Patricia He. But the year before, she played one of the most remarkable and hard-hitting semifinals I'd ever seen against Monica Seles. And if you remember that one, it went down to 7-6 in the 3rd set. Seles won it, went on to win the title.
We're at 2-all with Garrison-Jackson serving.
Capriati should be very confident about her game. It took her to the final of the Canadian Open, where she went 3 sets with Steffi Graf. And this particular wing is devastating when she's going for a passing shot.
3-2 Capriati. The players will change ends.
Jennifer Capriati will be one of the most interesting storylines at this year's U.S. Open, especially because she's in the same part of the draw as Martina Navratilova. They are destined to meet in the quarterfinals. And those two, I think, will be very interesting to watch at this U.S. Open.
This is the weakest part of Zina's game, the serve. And a player like Capriati tries to just jump all over the second serve because it doesn't have a lot of thrust to it, a lot of spin on it. Normally it doesn't land real deep.
She really lives and dies by it, Tony, because it affects every other stroke she's got. This is a cornerstone of her game, and as we said, it got her to the Wimbledon final a few years ago.
Help from the net for Jennifer, and a 5-2 lead.
Here's a look at the serve. This is a better serve, got depth and more pace on it. Didn't get a real deep first volley and gave Capriati time to set up, and she was a little lucky at the top of the net.
Oh. 6-2 Capriati. Zina wide.
Capriati.
So some match points now for Jennifer.
Long, and so Jennifer Capriati has won this semifinal matchup in this tiebreak, 7 points to 2. Jennifer Capriati advances to the final here at the Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge.
Perfect.
When he came out to McGregor Park, it's the park that I started, and he gave a clinic, and I thought it was very great of him, especially being the champion that he was, and it definitely helped me to go on and be the person that I am now.
What's it like playing in this event? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's a good cause, and I think the people get to come out and see us that might not get to come out and see us, and I think it's a good cause to come out for.
You're saying it's outright fun.
Yeah, it is. You know, and it's a good cause, so what more can you ask for?
Some people are talking you up to win the U.S. Open. What do you think your chances are?
Well, I want to come into here thinking positive and thinking that I'm going to do well, but I'm just going to take each match at a time.
Good afternoon at the USDA National Tennis Center, where tomorrow the U.S. Open begins. Today it is the Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge, and we have had lots of entertainment and some fine tennis played here this afternoon before a very good-sized crowd. We're delighted to report. Earlier in one of the women's semifinals, it was Jana Novotna, the number 8 seed in the Open, against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, the number 2 seed. Sanchez Vicario in the foreground here at match point. And so Arantxa Sanchez Vicario advanced to the women's final, where she will meet Jennifer Capriati, having defeated Jana Novotna 7-5. And there is the final matchup upcoming this afternoon here live on CBS Sports. You'll see young Jennifer against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario in the women's championship. That's still ahead, along with the men's final, when we return to the National Tennis Center in just a moment. This leaderboard, the final round of the world stands in the USTA box to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Tim, thank you. A very special guest, Monica Seles, and we were just talking about coming to her first tennis match since the accident is a step, right, to get out in public some more?
Yeah, I think I have to take a lot of different steps to get back, and this was one of it. And of course, it's for Arthur's Foundation for Defeat of AIDS. And I felt something that I've been here, played last year, and I felt it would be very nice. And I enjoy it so much, and it's just fun being out here. It's hard, but it's neat.
What is your timetable right now? Can we expect to see you with a racket in your hand instead of being a spectator?
I hope so, very soon. I'm getting very anxious. I do my therapy, but it's not the same as going out on the court and hitting the ball, and I think I'll be a little bit more happier as a person as soon as I get to the first ball.
I don't think you're ready to be a spectator. Just what's it like being a spectator, by the way?
It's very weird. Kind of enjoy it, but then if somebody hits a great shot or bad one, I wish I could be there and just play. But
let's talk about Arthur Ashe for a moment. What did he mean to you?
Well, the first time I met Arthur was last year, and then last year's Open for me personally was not one of the easiest ones, and he came to me on court and he said something very nice that I felt when I go through the situation I always kept in mind, and it was very nice of him. And he's been just such a nice person, a great champion, and the things that he had to go through in life are just unbelievable. I mean, he's just...
We thank you for joining us. It's great to see you back around tennis, and we'll see you soon, we hope.
I hope so too.
Thank you, Monica. Back up to you, Tim.
Thank you, Pat. Two ladies that Monica's very familiar with are on the court now for the championship match with the Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, ranked number 3 in the WTA ranks, number 2 seed here at the Open, just 21 years of age. She's been out here for a while, a former French champion, Mary.
She sure has been out here a while, and in fact, last year at the U.S. Open, she beat Steffi Graf in the quarterfinals and then lost in the final to Monica Seles.
Jennifer Capriati, the young American hope, still waiting for that big breakthrough, but also still a youngster, 17.
Absolutely youngster, but this could be a year for a breakthrough. I think it's sort of wide open, though obviously Steffi Graf would be the favorite here. But Jennifer Capriati is going to be around for a long time, and she'll do extremely well before her career is over.
29 and 10 in 1993 so far, with one title to her credit. And Sanchez Vicario will serve to open this tie-break match. First to 7, you must win by 2. If they get to 10 all, they'll play one decisive point. The first point to Sanchez Vicario. Sanchez Vicario defeated Jana Novotna to get to the final. Capriati ousted Zina-Garrison-Jackson 7 points to 2. And we're tied at 1.
1-1.
I very well remember the 1991 semifinal that this woman played against Monica Seles, one of the hardest hitting women's matches I've ever seen. Won 7-6 and a third by Seles. Tremendous match.
Service ace from Jennifer.
Capriati. Two. Capriati.
Alan King continues as the chair umpire for this women's championship match. 3-2 Capriati.
Versus. Three. Please change up.
Three all. The women are changing ends. Best of 7 in this tie break. That was long. 4-3 Capriati. Well, tomorrow night, Mary Carrillo and I will be along with the U.S. Open late night, and it's at 12:35 tomorrow night and throughout the tournament. And that is because we'll be following the debut of David Letterman, CBS's new late show. And we look forward to welcoming David Letterman to the ranks of late night television. And he'll be a tough act to follow, but somehow we'll manage. Right, Mayor?
That'll be a lot of fun.
Sanchez Vicario at 3-5.
Six. 3.
One of the interesting storylines at this year's U.S. Open involves, of course, this woman, Jennifer Capriati. We're all waiting to see if she can have her Grand Slam breakthrough here. But in the quarterfinals, she's destined to meet Martina Navratilova. Another great storyline on the women's side.
This is match point.
Six. 4. Capriati. Six. 5. Capriati.
Arantxa hanging in there, brings it to 6-5. 2 serves coming to her. And we're tied at 6. They change ends again.
Change ends, please.
3 match points saved by Sanchez Vicario. Pretty good effort.
I love to watch her hit that swinging volley she'll do, as we just saw there. She really has the timing down on that beautifully. Looks very confident hitting it. It's not an easy shot.
There's a young lady that enjoys playing. She enjoys where she is. She appreciates what she has. points in a row for Sanchez Vicario, and that gets her a match point.
Seven all. If they get to 10 all, they'll play one decisive point. Settle this championship. This is the longest a match has gone so far. 8-7 Capriati. Fourth match point, and Arantxa will have two serves to try and stave that off. It's long. And the first aircraft of the season crossing overhead. Stadium Court. That's long, and Jennifer Capriati has won this Arthur Ashe Tennis Challenge Women's
Round at the Firestone Country Club in Akron, Ohio.
Ceremonies. Let's go down now to Tony Trabert. Tony?
Thank you very much, Tim. Well, ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice round of applause for all our champions that played today? It is now my pleasure to introduce the President of the United States Tennis Association, Mr. Bumpy Fraser.
Tony, thank you. The United States Tennis Association is very proud to celebrate Arthur Ashe Day. The entire tennis world has joined together for a 15-month period to support the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the defeat of AIDS. We think it is very appropriate that last year's and this year's U.S. Open are key elements in the Foundation's effort to carry on Arthur's wonderful work. The United States Tennis Association thanks all these great players who have participated in the afternoon's festivities. We thank our principal sponsor, Aetna. We thank the celebrities, and especially Alan King in the chair. And we say to all of you, you have given us a happy and a memorable afternoon. We hope that the players and their associations, the WTA and the ATP, will join, and you, the fans, will join with us in continuing this wonderful event in future years. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my very great pleasure to introduce one of the wonderful ladies of the world, Jeannie Ashe.
Thank you, Bumpy. I want to thank the USTA, Aetna, the New York Times, and our other sponsors for their generous support. The Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS kicked off its initial public education and fundraising campaign a year ago at the inaugural Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge. In the past year, with the cooperation and support of the players, tournaments, and other members of the international tennis world, the foundation has raised more than $2 million, which we will be distributed to established AIDS organizations worldwide involved in research, clinical trials, patient support, services, and education. I want to thank all of the pros for volunteering to play today. As a sign of our appreciation for your support, I want to give you one of the Foundation's gold Vermeil logo pins.
We'll be back at the National Tennis Center for some final thoughts in just a moment.
Meet Lindsay Davenport, all 6 feet 2 inches, 100 and, well, we won't tell you that. But we will tell you she is the hottest player in U.S. tennis today. But when you meet this 17-year-old from the desert of Southern California, unless you know who she is, you would probably think she's just another very tall teenager. Maybe even a volleyball player, you know, California and all. Then again, you might think she's a basketball player. You know, she's so tall. But one thing you learn very quickly about Lindsay Davenport is she doesn't like a lot of attention, especially at her high school.
I'm pretty shy and don't really want a lot of attention drawn on myself, so we try not to talk about it at home and at school. You know, not that many people, a lot of people know that I play tennis, but not too many people, you know it's me. You know, they know it's a tennis player there, and I try not to stick out too much.
And yet it's kind of hard because you're 6'2".
Yeah, when they know it's a tall tennis player, then I'm in trouble.
And when we showed up at Murrieta Valley High, well, the word was out on Lindsay Davenport.
That was just a little tough because, you know, like, still not that people at school know about it, and so that was a little weird.
Another thing you quickly learn about Lindsay is that she loves to laugh.
What's this nickname she's always got, like the Giggle Girl or something?
She's always laughing. She's pretty shy too. She doesn't like cameras or any of that stuff.
Hello. The week we caught up with Lindsay on the campus of her high school, we wanted to see how many of her classmates she knew. I mean, she does spend a lot of time on the road, and she came to Murrieta as a junior. So it's a legitimate question. And she answered it for us at Senior Square.
I know a lot of these people. I know her,
him, it, she, they.
her, him, her, him. I know a lot of people.
Now, here's the big question.
Well, she knew more people than I thought. I mean, I was surprised considering when we visited Lindsay, she was the highest American woman tennis player in the world rankings. She started her climb from number 99 in the world. Lindsay quickly cracked the top 50, and now she's blasting her way into the top 10. All this while being a typical high school senior, even when you're being interviewed by ESPN.
Did you counsel or ask the counsel of Mom and Dad?
Can I get that?
Yeah. Is that your phone?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm talking about my green hair.
What is the thing about tennis you love the most? What is it about? Go ahead, get the phone.
Hello? Yeah? Hi. Yes, you're on TV right now.
So it appears that Lindsay Davenport's efforts to be a typical high school senior have paid off, culminating in the fact that she will walk down the aisle with the first ever Murrieta Valley High School graduating class. That will be this June. But while many of her classmates from there will head off to college, that is not the destination for Lindsay Davenport. Oh, she considered college once.
Yeah, I think when I originally started, it was always, I always planned on going to college. Playing pro tennis was more like a dream or a goal. So, you know, I'd always had these goals towards going to college, and I just started doing well and found myself in kind of strange position where I had a couple more years to college, or I could go pro. And so I tried playing pro tennis, and I really enjoyed it, and decided that was something I really wanted to do. So I put college on hold for a little while.
When she did that a year ago, it came as a complete shock to us. I mean, we knew that in the back of Lindsay's mind, this is what she wanted to do. But at that time, we figured she'd just go on to college. And she came home and she said, I have two options. I can either just remain like I am, or if I want to get better, I need to make the next step and turn pro. And I would like to become a pro.
And oh, what a pro she's been. Lindsay went professional in February of '93, and it didn't take her long to win her first professional tournament. In May of that same year, she won in Lucerne, Switzerland. And at the tender age of 16, she earned $27,000 for the win. That same year, Lindsay really got the notice of tennis crowds when she battled Gabriela Sabatini in a thrilling three-setter that lasted almost 3 hours. losing 6-4 in the third. This season, 1994, has seen Lindsay Davenport grow even more as a professional. She went down under to the Aussie Open and had an early lead on #1 seed Steffi Graf in the quarterfinals, but bowed out in 2.
You played against Steffi Graf.
Right.
You were up 3-1. How were you feeling? What was running through your mind then?
Yeah, Australia. That was a great tournament for me. I got to the quarterfinals and played, Steffi, who's #1 in the world for the first time. And, I started off well, but, I was just really burnt out from the whole trip, and I couldn't hang in there much longer. But she's a great player, and it was a great experience. Center court, really crowded, playing #1 player in the world. You can't ask for much more experience than that.
In March, Lindsay would finally get her victory over Sabatini at the Lipton International, totally dominating the #3 seed 6-2, 6-1. Then in the semis versus Graf, she took Steffi to a second tiebreaker, losing 7-3, the first tiebreaker for Graf in '94. Yes, Lindsay has done well as a professional. She's earned close to $400,000, and she waited till the age of 16 to do it, unlike another player who turned pro at 14, Jennifer Capriati. USTA Director of Coaching for Women's Tennis, Lynn Raleigh, has been quoted as saying, "We don't need any superstar children who are a disaster a year later," end quote. Lindsay realized she wanted her situation to be totally different.
From right away, the parents and the agents and coaches, everyone for her just pushed her into it. She was only 14, so it's kind of hard to make your own decision. I turned pro when I was 16, and I knew this was something I wanted to do, and I've kept everything normal. Everything for her kind of turned to tennis, and to her parents probably money and stuff like that. So I'm very comfortable with where I'm at right now and having a lot of fun. And unfortunately, she's not doing too well right now, but she'll come back in a couple months, hopefully, and we'll like it again and enjoy it.
And Lindsay's parents say they weren't about to make the same mistake with their daughter.
Yes, I worry about the tennis burnout. At this point, I feel Lindsay has her schedule pretty well established, and she's not like playing a lot of exhibitions. She's not playing tournament after tournament after tournament. She gets a break after her tournaments.
We don't worry about her tennis. I mean, if she goes and works out, that's fine. Now she knows she has to work out a little bit more, but she'll be home for a 4 or 5 week stretch, and she may play not till the second week she's home. It's just to give her a break and let her become a kid again. And that's most important. I mean, when you demand that she continues to be an adult at a kid's age, that's what we feel is wrong.
For now, Lindsay Davenport will continue to send in the homework assignments from the road, something her counselor at Murrieta Valley High is very happy to receive. So we wanted to know,
and how are her grades?
Great. Solid A's, actually. She's a very, very solid academic student. Lindsay has a lot of talent outside the tennis court, too.
Ah, yes, Lindsay Davenport is a tennis player, a professional, but to her friends and family, she's just Lindsay. And right now for Lindsay, her first concern is keeping it fun and enjoying her time remaining as a 17-year-old senior in high school.
These are my last couple months, and I'm determined to enjoy them. And, my coaches and my agent, they all know that, my parents. And, when I get out of high school, then I'll probably really make a serious run. Right now I'm 12 in the world and having fun. So.
And fun for Lindsay Davenport always begins and ends with that smile.
We've seen a lot of high school athletes, believe it or not, that have gone right.
Dave Edmonton.
But tonight, she sits down with Barbara for an intimate conversation about her public and private life and her plans for the future. Stay with us.
Monday, the champions of the tennis world will gather in Flushing Meadows, New York, for the start of the U.S. Open. But the greatest female star of all will not be taking part. Martina Navratilova announced her retirement in July when she lost what would have been her 10th Wimbledon title. Since then, Martina has shied away from the spotlight until now. But there are still so many questions we wanted to ask her. Why did she retire now? How does she feel about young stars like Jennifer Capriati, who burned out so fast? And how has her life as a lesbian stood in the way of endorsements? Martina talked about all that and more when we sat down for an intimate conversation.
Whoa.
Martina Navratilova leaves tennis as the greatest player ever in tennis history. taking with her more tennis titles than any player, male or female, has ever won. When I asked how she'd like us to think of her, she replied, "I've served and volleyed my way through life." During the 22 years of her career, which began when she was 15 in Czechoslovakia, she won 18 Grand Slam singles titles, a record 9 at Wimbledon, the world's greatest tennis tournament. She once won 74 consecutive singles matches, another record. And the records continue. She has the most singles titles, the most doubles titles. She was #1 in tennis for 8 years. She herself says in those days, her average game was better than anyone else's best. She seemed invincible. When she announced this year that she was leaving tennis, that she wanted to quit while she was still on top, she said she wanted to win one more Wimbledon. It would have been her 10th, and it seemed possible. She had always done it before, made a comeback from some spectacular losing streaks, and she almost did it this time, too. She won 5 straight matches to get to the finals. Then Martina, who is 37, played 22-year-old Conchita Martinez for the title. Martina's parents came from Czechoslovakia to watch.
What a shot by Conchita Martinez.
Conchita won the first set. Navratilova the second. But then she lost the third set with a bad backhand. And with it, the match and her last Wimbledon.
Martina Navratilova.
She got a standing ovation. There were tears and cheers. She hugged Martinez, cried when she accepted the silver plate for second place, plucked a blade of grass, and left the court she claims she will never play on again. Does a part of you, when you came so close to winning, say, one more time, maybe next year?
There certainly have been people trying to convince me of that, but yeah, I could try, but there really is no point.
Does that mean no?
That means no.
Absolutely no. Without a doubt, no.
Without a doubt. I have no doubt about wanting to stop and get off the roller coaster.
But why right now? Why not next year?
I think my heart just told me last year that this year would be my last, that's all the passion and heart and courage I could muster for one more year. The way I play tennis, you really need the heart in it, and my heart is ready for other things.
One of the things her heart seems ready to do is to use her name and experience to help write a series of 3 mystery novels about, not surprisingly, women's professional tennis. The first one, called The Total Zone, will be out this month. It's about a teenage tennis star pushed too far, too fast. In the book, there are stage parents, tennis parents, who drive these kids like stage mothers and fathers when we used to read about them. Is that very common today?
Oh, absolutely.
And what does it mean?
It means that the kids don't have a life. They go out of school, they don't have any friends, they don't have any peers, and it doesn't prepare them for life. And because of the parents pushing them so hard, I think their careers are much shorter. So what I say to those parents, please slow down. Your kid doesn't have to be number 4 in the world when they're 14.
Why has it changed?
Money and fame.
Pays more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
I mean, these
female
kids are
tennis
getting
has changed.
deals before they even won their first tennis match. Jennifer Capriati was a household name before she ever played her first professional match. Something's wrong here.
Do you think she was driven too hard, too fast?
Early. You shouldn't be playing tennis for 4 hours when you're 10 years old.
There is an age limit for tennis. 14 for
It's
competition?
14 for women. I don't know what the men have.
Do you think it should be raised?
I think there is a good case for it to be raised, because if the kid cannot play until they're 16, then you will stay in school, you will take your time and not push them so much so that they have more of a balanced life, and then they have a much better chance of making it once they do get on the tour.
Then we have this whole other phenomenon. You must win. I mean, we see Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. Is winning everything?
Winning is so much glorified these days. Not how you play the game, but whether you win or lose. People forget that sports is a game to be played with joy and passion, not, oh my God, I got to win or somebody's going to shoot me in my driveway. It's crazy.
Still, this is not to say that Martina was not competitive. Her biggest rival was Chris Evert, who was the reigning queen of tennis. Martina seemed the antithesis of Evert with her all-American cover girl looks. And when Martina first beat Evert at Wimbledon in 1978, it was Evert the crowds were cheering. Then Martina beat her at 4 more Wimbledons. Chris Evert today is retired and the mother of 2 children. And although Chris and Martina are friends now, for years they fought each other ruthlessly on the court for top place. Was there a point where you felt you had to hate her, the killer instinct? I read that your trainer said they had to instill that in you.
A little bit, but I was pretending, because I really did not dislike Chris. There were some things about her that I didn't like, no, this is private, and I'm sure there are some things about me that she doesn't like, but the bottom line was that we always respected one another as human beings and as tennis players. So even though I really didn't like her on the court because she had what I didn't have, or she was trying to take what I had, off the court we were always friends.
Are you friends today?
Absolutely.
Maybe it's just that I'm older and tennis really hasn't changed. But the kinds of personalities that we used to see, where almost every player had a different personality, doesn't seem to be the same today.
Well, I think the personalities are there, but they're not allowed to shine through because they're all taught the same way. And the games are very same. I mean, you would take top 20 players, men and women, in the 60s and 70s, and there were 20 different styles. Now everybody seems to, they're very good hitters of the ball. Everybody hits the ball really well, but everybody hits it the same.
So we're having, what, automatons?
Almost. I think they're taught not to show emotion and be really tough, and so they look like, you know, they just have this thing, and you wave something in front of them and their expression doesn't change. It's scary.
Which means what?
Which means that I don't think they're allowing themselves to even enjoy the game. Loosen up. This is a game. You can be a human being and still have the killer instinct.
Do you think that the public's response to your homosexuality has changed over the years?
Absolutely. It's not the defining theme of what I am as a human being, but they look at the other qualities instead and don't see homosexuality as a detriment, which it shouldn't be. I mean, I still get the occasional jeer or boo.
Really?
When I'm introduced, but I think those people are now so embarrassed to show that. And I know I've changed a lot of people's minds, so that's very reassuring.
You did not get the kind of corporate endorsements that some other athletes got.
What did I get?
Well, did you get any?
I got about this
0.
much.
Because you were gay?
Well, I would think that would be the only reason. Yeah. I know Billie Jean told me herself they were trying to get me some deals during team tennis, and when they went into a room and they would talk about other players or other possibilities, everybody was very excited, and then they would bring up my name, and the room would go silent.
Still?
Still, this year. They just go silent. The corporate world is so afraid of taking a chance and having the one letter out of 1,000 that will say, oh, I'm going to boycott your products because you're promoting a lesbian, you know. This is 1994, get with it. But
do you have any money?
I have enough. I'm definitely comfortable.
So you'll never have to play tennis just to make money. I mean, the way we've seen some boxers who should have stopped and don't and come back.
I won't have to sell myself at all, thank God.
Will you work more actively in gay rights now that you're going to have a little more time?
That's definitely one of the things that I will be involved in until I am free to join the army if I want to, until I'm free to adopt a child if I want to, until I'm free to teach kids, even though I'm gay, then we don't have equality. So until then, I will keep working, yeah.
Do you want to have a baby?
I don't know yet. I mean, I'm running out of time. I'm close to 38, and I want to have a few years of fun before I decide what I want to do productively with the rest of my life, other than playing. So I don't know. I still don't know.
Would you want to have a child by artificial insemination? Would it be important to have it your genes?
I definitely. I think if I have kids, I would adopt 1 or 2 and have one of my own as well.
Martina has had a series of well-publicized and sometimes turbulent relationships with other women. Her personal life seems stable, But 3 years ago, she was in the middle of a messy lawsuit with her then companion, Judy Nelson. Mrs. Nelson wanted 50% of everything Martina had earned during their 7 years together. The lawsuit has since been settled out of court for an undisclosed amount of money. Is there someone special in your life now?
Yes, right now, but it's still at the very beginning stages, so we'll see where it goes.
And then we asked Martina about the future. A few weeks ago, she announced that she would no longer play in the U.S. Open. She is still playing team tennis, a national tournament founded by Billie Jean King, where other big names such as Bjorn Borg play. She has a few more tennis commitments. The Virginia Slims this year is one, and then it will all come to an end. Is there a day when you will just stop?
Yes, definitely. Team tennis is my only commitment that I have for next year.
And
I may only coach. I may not play at all. And after that, only if I'm good enough would I play. But I have such high standards that I don't know if I could let myself just see getting worse and worse every year.
Today, when many athletes retire, they coach, they broadcast, they write. What do you see yourself doing?
My goal is to have no plan and really enjoy myself, have fun, learn some new sports, while I try to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life.
You know that you may well be called the greatest female tennis player in history.
That's what I've always wanted, but now that people call me that, I say, no, 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 no. There's plenty of others, and it's just nice to be mentioned in the same breath with the Billie Jean King, Margaret Court, Chris Evert, Suzanne Lenglen, Helen Wills Moody. It's nice to be in that same group.
All those names, and now Martina Navratilova.
It's a hard one to pronounce, but they've learned after all these years.
We've all learned.
Thank you.
She is fascinating, you know, and even though she says she doesn't know exactly what she wants to do, she seems reconciled to the wisdom of bowing out at this time, and that may mean that she's well adjusted.
Yeah, she's not depressed, but you know what I find depressing? We talk about her as the grand old lady of tennis. She's 37.
37 years old. Sports has a different definition of age, I think, than other walks.
It's interesting, too, how the public's view of her has changed. There was a time, and she alludes to it, when people were very antagonistic about her sexuality. She was too masculine. She was too tough in the court. And they realize now what a good human being she is, as well as, a superb athlete.
Like she said, it's 1994. This change has happened. Thank you, Barbara.
We wish her luck. We sure
We
she'll
do.
have it.
Welcome to the 3rd annual Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge. 2 years ago, my husband began the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS to help educate the public about this disease. The foundation has raised over $4 million and has given monies to over 30 organizations. But the work must continue. Let's work together to help make Arthur's dream of defeating AIDS become a reality. Thank you.
Arthur Ashe had a lot of dreams. Some he fulfilled, and some are still a long ways away for others to work on. But what we celebrate today is the spirit of a man who lived his life not in 49 years, but in thousands of days of grace. It is Fun Day at the National Tennis Center, the last day of frivolity before the U.S. Open Wars here. And we're glad you decided to join us in on the fun on a Sunday in New York City. For a good cause as well, the Arthur Ashe Foundation for the Defeat of AIDS. And welcome to the 3rd annual Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge, the Stadium Court, the scene of so many battles here at the U.S. Open. And we always battle the weather here. Today it's hot again, 79 degrees, 69% humidity, slight chance of rain, which means it could rain any minute here at Flushing Meadows, New York. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. It's sort of a tradition around here that we celebrate Arthur Ashe the day before the opening of the U.S. Open, an event Arthur won in 1968, celebrating not only a great tennis player, but a man of unparalleled character. And today we're going to see a lot of stars, have a lot of fun, and one of the stars we will see today is a man who won this event in 79, 80, 81, and 84. Has a nice ring to it, John McEnroe. Why do you keep coming back here every year?
Well, Arthur was an inspiration to all players. He's, as I've said before, the greatest ambassador the tennis has ever had, so we need to do a lot more to get even close to his league. And you and I have this conversation every year during this event, that tennis needs more of this, don't you think? Absolutely. I think tennis is in a state where some changes could be made, and events like this is something that I think that the players should definitely be doing a lot more of. There's no excuse for it. This is a easy thing to do right now. You're going to try and beat Andre Agassi again today for the third time. You haven't beat him yet. Are you sure about that? Well, you're going to try anyway, right? We'll see definitely try. We'll see a little bit later. One of our hosts today, of course, is the incomparable Bill Cosby. And let's go over to the cause right now. Bill, you're on.
Thank you, Pat. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to officially welcome you to the third annual Arthur Ashe AIDS Tennis Challenge, hosted by the United States Tennis Association. Having known Arthur, I can assure you that his presence is felt. It's 26 years ago when he first won the U.S. Open. Today, our national anthem will be sung by an Atlantic recording.
Tennis Center in Flushing Meadows, New York. We've got a rough and tumble trio of announcers. Let's go up to Tim Ryan. Tim?
Thank you, Pat. Yes, I guess rough is Mary Carrillo and tumble is Tony Trapert. By that description, we're glad to be back doing tennis this fall and ready to start the U.S. Open tomorrow. And this is a battle of the sexes here. We've got the best women's team in the world taking on not the best men's team. There is Natalia Zvereva. Her partner is Gigi Fernandez, and they're going for the Grand Slam this year.
That's right. They've already won the Australian, the French, and the Wimbledon doubles championships. They were in this position last year and didn't make it all the way through, but Gigi Fernandez, I really feel, is one of the most talented of all the women players on the WTA Tour, and her partner's no slouch in that department either. They're both very, very handy around the net. They communicate well, and they're both two of the most interesting and fun-loving characters in women's tennis.
Tony, no quarter will be given on the other side. They're giving away a little age, but no quarter.
You've got a bunch of chauvinists on this side of the net. Ilya Nastasi, one of the clown princes of tennis. He'll make your afternoon a little lighter, a little more fun. A very, very gifted gentleman. He could really play the game, and you know, he won the French. He won Wimbledon. I'm sorry, he was runner-up at Wimbledon. Won the U.S. Open. Yannick Noah, his partner, French champion, was the captain of the victorious French Davis Cup team a couple years ago. The first time the French won the Davis Cup in like 52 years. A very charismatic person. It should be a lot of fun.
Great athlete and a fine doubles player in his time. Now let's go down to the chair umpire. We use the term loosely. Bill Cosby.
Hey.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, to my left, dominating women's doubles, they will be looking to sweep the 1994 Grand Slam with a victory here at the U.S. Open. Natalia Zvereva and her partner, a Wimbledon singles finalist this year. What? Semi-finalists who won it all up till the last.